All right, guys, welcome to the class one. This is Wizdom QA. This is Ovik from Wizdom QA. We are basically going to start off with the end-to-end SDET program. So let me put this in the presentation mode so that it's easier for everybody to look into it. Okay. So this is what we have for today. Okay. There is going to be 4 classes, as I have already sent you the mail. Total 8 hours. It's a demo session that you guys have signed up for. So in today's class, we will start off with the initial introduction of Wizdom QA, a quick understanding about my profile, and then we will go through a roundtable introduction. Uh, then you will get to know that what you are supposed to get from this training, right? What am I delivering out of it? And then a small expectation from your side. And then we will know that who is this course for, okay? And what kind of prerequisites are needed, okay? After that, we will move into basics of software testing, just a glimpse of it, because there could be a possibility that many people who are joining, they don't have any understanding on software testing. So probably, a little bit, we'll talk about that. And then we will understand what is automation testing and why do you want to learn this. And then introduction to Java, Java installation and configuration, installing Eclipse IDE, and a basic Java program. I want to basically keep it very simple for today, and we will take step-by-step approach. We are starting from very basic, so I think it's easier if we can keep it simple, right? Just give me 1 second. I want to check if. All right. Okay. So this is the about us. So as you have already seen our website, we have designed a end-to-end software testing course, and automation testing course. The idea is that you need to learn, you need to understand, you need to get the thorough understanding of um, all the modules that I have specified in the website. The reason for that is I want my students to be coming up to the market as a SDET profile, right? So when I say SDET, software development engineering test, you are not only supposed to work as a guy who can write simple automation test case, but you should be able to design framework. You should be able to work on creating a framework which will be stable, which will be having API support, which will have mobile automation capabilities, which can run through Jenkins, which can run into Docker. So it is an end-to-end, everything that you need for automation testing is what we are offering, right? So as I say here very clearly that this is our main mission, is to provide end-to-end software automation testing course, right? And we thoroughly believe in the fact that everybody can code, okay? It's just that you need to be a little bit dedicated, and you should be consistent about it, right? And with our guidance, I think everybody will be able to write or write you know advance code that you need to know in terms of understanding or learning software automation testing. So that's about us. Let's move into my profile, okay? So I'm Souvik Datta, as you guys know already. I have 10 plus years of experience in this particular field. I have worked with giant projects and different companies. If you go to my LinkedIn, if you just click on this LinkedIn button here, it will take you to my LinkedIn profile. You can take a look into my profile. You'll see that I work with different companies. I train with other companies around the globe. I have trained almost nearly 900 students so far, and I have extensive experience in writing test automation frameworks, right? So in Java, JavaScript, Node.js, Jenkins, Docker, these are the tools that I play with, right? So before I move on to the actual part, I would like to get a little bit of understanding from your side about your experience, your name, your experience, why you came in for this course. What is the reason that you think that this course is suitable for you, right? So I'm going to start unmuting one by one everybody in the panel here, and then we will take it forward. Yeah. So I'm unmuting Ashish. Ashish, you're unmuted. Could you please tell me about yourself and the reason for this course that you have joined? Ashish, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, is that Ashish?
Yes, yes, Ashish this side.
Yeah, hi. All right,
Yep.
Ashish. So if you just can tell me, like, why did you join this course?
Uh, Actually, I have around 10 years of experience in the field of IT infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
and I came here, Ireland, to pursue masters, and I learned
Mm-hmm.
that testing is a growing market in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to build my competency in that area so that
Right.
I got the new job in that domain, and I will
Awesome.
start my career from starting here in Ireland.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Ashish. And uh, when you are searching for the job, what did you find? Did you find manual testing jobs more here in Ireland or automation testing?
Uh, from my perspective, I think automation testing is right now growing in the market,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a huge crunch of the resources in that field.
Exactly. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Ashish.
Yeah.
All right. I'll mute you back and then I'll unmute Devanita. Devanita, I'm just unmuting you. Um, you can probably talk now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hi, I'm Deepanita. I have
sure.
7 years and 6 months of experience in software field. I have experience in software development as well as testing. But
Okay,
only in
Devanita,
manual
your
testing.
voice is actually very low. If you just can,
Oh,
yeah.
hello. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can, sure.
Okay. I have 7 years and 6 months of experience in software development and testing.
Right.
In software testing, I only have experience on manual testing, no experience on automation testing.
Okay.
Just 8 months back, we have moved to Dublin with my husband, and
Right.
I'm just searching for a job, but I'm finding it very difficult to find a job. And I left
Mm-hmm.
my job in 2015, just 4 years back, because of my family planning and all.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, whenever I am applying for manual testing, even for manual testing, uh, they want for some knowledge on automation testing. So that's the reason I have joined the course. I want to be uh, I want to be proficient in automation testing and want to get this somewhere in Dublin.
Sure. Thank you, Devanita. So when you came in here and you searched for manual testing jobs, what was your experience in that?
They are asking for some or automation testing experience like Selenium, like mobile
Mhm.
automation testing, at least for some knowledge, but I do not have the knowledge at all.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Little
Thank you,
bit.
Devanita. All right. I'll move on to Liliana. Liliana, I'm just unmuting you.
Yes, I'm Liliana.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Chile and I want to learn more about testing
Mm-hmm.
because I would like get a job in Ireland as tester engineer.
Okay.
And I have experience in Chile,
Mm-hmm.
but as software engineer in Java,
Right.
and after that, business analyst.
Got it. Got it.
I don't have experience in testing, but I think the Ireland have a good market for that.
Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Liliana. All right. Thank you for joining. And I'll go to Pragati now. Pragati, I'm not sure if your mic is working. Can you just confirm me that? Okay, your mic is not working. All right, no problem. That's fine. You can type in your details in the chat, and I can read it for everybody. Okay, let's move on to Shantanu. Shantanu, I'm just unmuting you.
Okay, yeah, my name is Shantanu, and
Shantanu, can you be a little louder? I'm not able to hear you at all.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure. Good.
Okay, yeah, my name is Shantanu. So I just finished my electronic engineering degree, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, but I just kind of realized that that didn't really interest me. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to move forward to the software field, and
Mm.
and then I looked into it, and then I think and I believe the automation field has really caught my eye, and that's what I want to move into.
Great. Great, Shantanu. Thank you.
So I looked around, and that's what I really want to move into.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thanks.
All right, great. So I have Raj here now. Raj, I'm going to unmute you. Raj, um, can you talk? Is that working for you, or mic is working for you? Hi, Raj. No. Okay. Yeah. Can you talk, Raj? I can see your chat, but can't hear you. Okay, sorry, no problem. That's fine. You can just type in your details there in the chat, and then we will know. Okay. So Pragati says that she is basically a homemaker and she wants to start her career in testing. She has completed BTech in IT, right? And Raj is also chatting with me, and he is a business analyst, and he wants to start his career in IT as well. So that's what he wanted to say, and then I'll move on to Vidya. Vidya, I'm unmuting you. Vidya, I'm not able to unmute you. Are you unmuted from your side? Can you unmute from your side? Yeah, it's good now. Can you talk?
Yes, this is Vidya, and I had around 4 years of experience in testing, and I
Hmm.
had a break of almost 6 years. And
Right.
I once I come to Dublin, when I start looking for a job, and the demand is for only automation testing, so I came here.
Good. Good. All right. All right. That's great. So once again, thanks for joining Wizdom QA. I will move on to the next slide. Let me actually mute all. Super. Just give me a quick second. All right. Okay. So let's see, what are we delivering? Okay. I think in my website it's clearly written that what you will be getting out of it, but I want to specify one more time. So this is basically a online plus classroom session. Okay, it's going to run for 2.5 months to 3 months at least. The plan is that I'm going to take the classes 3 to 4 days in a week, depends on what you prefer. The plan is that Monday to Thursday, similar time, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., 4 days or 3 days, depending on what you guys actually can confirm me with, right? And all these sessions are recorded, and you will get the lifetime access to it. Um, you will be getting the end-to-end understanding of all the modules that I have specified in my website. So let me just quickly take you to my website. If we just come down here, so we will get started with core Java, and then we will move into Selenium WebDriver, These two are the basic foundation of test automation, obviously. Then we will learn about TestNG. We will learn about page object model. These are required for the framework implementation. And then we will understand Cucumber. It is another type of framework that we see here in TestNG. It's another type of framework. And then we will understand what is a reporting. How do we can generate report out of it? This whole part that you see here from core Java to this first two column, more or less, is going to be used for, we will use this knowledge for web application automation, right? And then we will be moving into mobile application automation. That's where we will understand appium. Okay, this is the mobile automation tool. We will be, you will be able to run automated test cases into your Android devices. Okay, you will be able to hook in your Android device into your laptop, and then you can trigger your test cases, and you will be able to see that running. Okay, that's Appium. And then we will learn about REST API automation. So REST API or web services is very, very crucial for today's world. And we will learn about that in details. We will learn about a tool called Postman. Okay, we will learn about that tool. We will learn how to write automated test cases with REST API. And then we will understand how to actually integrate all these components together, okay, like REST API automation, and then web application automation, and then mobile application automation. How do we actually integrate them all together? This is GitHub, which is basically a version control system, okay, because obviously you will be not working solo in your team. You will be working in a group. So your tests, your code that you will be writing needs to be submitted to a version control system, so that everybody in the team can contribute to one project. Okay, so that's the GitHub. Then you will learn Maven. Maven is basically a dependency management tool. Probably it will not make sense to you right now, but when we start digging more into it, you will get to know what I'm talking about. This is Jenkins. Jenkins is basically a continuous integration tool. So what happens nowadays is all the applications that we see or we develop basically gets built through Jenkins. And what we do is, the whole idea is that we are going to create a job for automation, and we're going to hook that to the Jenkins pipeline. Okay, you will see that how Jenkins will be able to start executing automation test cases as a nightly build, right? It will trigger on its own, right? So that can be done through Jenkins. You have time, you can set up timer, and you can set up reporting and many other stuff, which probably not makes sense to you right now, but we will learn about that. And then Docker. So Docker is basically, you can say, a compressed version of a virtual machine, but much more efficient. Okay, so in this Docker, we will be actually executing our test cases. Okay, this will be the last part, right? So this whole modules, the complete module that I'm talking about right now, is something that you should actually learn to have an edge in the market. If you go to the market and if you are showing up these tools and these keywords in your resume, there is no doubt that your resume will be picked up for an interview discussion. I'm not saying that in the day one, because as you can see from the participant list, that people are coming to the training with almost no knowledge, right, in automation. So I'm not saying that in the first interview itself you will be able to crack it, but you will definitely be able to get it done in couple of interviews, and you will be getting the interview support from us. We will be able to help you out with respect to resume preparation, interview support until you get placed, right? So let's go back to the slide deck. All right. So lifetime access to live projects, all these projects that we will be creating, okay, every one of them will be live projects, and I'm going to upload these to a Google Drive or a OneDrive, and you will always have the access to it. We will start practical from day one itself. Okay, so everything goes to cloud, and you can download it from anywhere you want to. And also these videos, by the way, these videos are also recorded, and we will be actually pushing them to our YouTube channel. I will send a detailed mail to you. There's a YouTube channel where you will be able to have, you will be able to look into these videos. So these 4 videos that we are right now recording, these are demo videos, obviously, and it will be available publicly. But after 4 session, whoever will continue after 4 session will then have access to the private videos, right? So everybody will not be able to see it. Only the person who is going to register will be able to see it. Okay, and lastly, the student support, as I said, you will be getting training, end-to-end training in all the modules that I have discussed, assignments, interview preparation, until you get placed. Okay, and I'm also in a talk with a couple of recruitment firms. It is not yet done completely. I will not be able to give you a confirmation on it, but I've started some discussion with these people. So probably we will be able to, push your resume for the interviews as well. So that's what my motive, okay, from this entire course, to be very true. I want my students to get placed, as simple as that, right? Okay, so what do I expect from you, right? Very crucial. During the class, I want my students to be focused and isolated. Okay, I don't want you to be like sitting and learning this technology in a room where you have other people's presence. You will not be able to concentrate. Okay, I will really suggest that you can probably go to another room where you can have some isolation. Get a good headset. uh, you know Plug it into your system and then take the class. The experience will be much better. You will be able to understand what I'm trying to say. You will be able to ask me the right questions. Okay, these videos are recorded. You can definitely go and take a look at it into it later on, but still, while I'm explaining it, if you are focused, you will be able to ask me relevant questions. It'll be for your betterment, right? It is definitely for your good itself, right? So please do that. As I mentioned earlier, get a good headset, okay, so that we can communicate better. So whoever is not able to switch on their mic, they should be able to do that from next class, hopefully. And the last thing that I need from our participants here is that I want you to be proactive. Okay, so I'm going to teach you everything that is there in the list. Okay, but I also want my students to be proactive. So if I am teaching you a concept on Java, I want you to learn that from the video recording, obviously, and from the class and from the assignments. That's totally fine. But I want to go beyond it. I want you to go and take a look into that particular topic into a YouTube video, another YouTube video, or some blogs, okay, so that you can understand the concept from a different perspective. And when you learn things from a different, the way I will train you, and the person who you will be listened to in a YouTube video, or you will read into a blog, probably their perspective will be different than mine, right? And that itself will generate a lot of questions, and you will come back to me to clarify. That's what I want. I want you to be proactive, to go ahead and seek for the information. After learning from me, I want you to seek for the information, and then you will have a doubt, come back to me, and I will help you to solve the doubt, right? So this is what I want from you guys. Okay, let's move on. Who is this course for? Okay, so this course is designed for someone who is coming with no experience at all. Okay, which means somebody who doesn't have any experience in software testing or automation testing can come for this course, because I'm going to start from very, very basics. Okay. However, I still want my students to have some basic understanding on software testing. I mean, I will obviously start with automation, like very basics from automation. But if you actually go to any blog, you will get some fundamental understanding of what software testing is all about, how to perform basic software testing, right? What exactly they're trying to say, because this course is not a manual testing course. I cannot start from manual testing. I have to start from automation testing, and that's where my expertise will help you to succeed, right? So as I said, you have to be proactive. Okay, if you have some doubt, you can definitely ask me. But I mean, regarding manual testing, but I still want you to look into it, look into different blogs, and then come back to me if you are not able to understand something. Be proactive, please. So someone who has experience as functional tester and wants to move into automation industry, like we have Dipanita here. So she is having some experience as a functional tester, Dipanita, Vidya, and they want to come to automation industry. Totally fine, right? Because as I said, you don't need to understand how to write code. That is my responsibility. Okay. And this is also for somebody who has automation testing experience already. They have learned some tools and they are already working in a company where they are doing some hands-on with automation. Totally fine, but they want to gain advanced concept on automation testing, right? So everybody in the market will not be able to talk to you about REST API automation or appium or other stuff. um, Liliana, are you there? Okay, I saw it. I think you went off. Are you okay? Did you get disconnected or something? Can you hear me, Liliana? Yeah, hi, Liliana.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you're here. Okay, fine. I actually saw that you just left and then probably you came back again. Thank you. That's fine. So as I said, anybody who has got some understanding on automation testing can also join the course, because probably everybody will not understand about advanced modules, right? And that's what we are covering. Okay. So that's that. Before I move on, do you have any questions on these first few slides? You can type into the chat, or you can come on, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Any question, guys? Any question about the course content or whatever you're learning, timings, anything at all? Okay, I'm getting some chats. Let me check. No, you don't have to note down anything, Dipanita. I'm just asking if you have any questions with respect to first few slides. The first few slides are just to kind of give you to set up the environment, to be very true. So Pragati, sorry, I'll take the question from Pragati and then I will come back to you. Just give me 1 second. So Pragati, I can see your question there. It says, is everything online or classroom training will also be there? So Pragati, 90% of the classes are online, because that's what is going to suit for me and for other participants mostly. I'm a working professional, as I have mentioned you earlier as well. So after coming back from office only, I can take the class. So 8 to 10 is what my main timing for the class. The classroom sessions will be also there. That will be basically 5 to 6 session in whole 3 months course, 2.5 to 3 months course, and those sessions will be conducted mainly to bring the participant out of any kind of roadblock. When you start learning these tools, Pragati, definitely you will face roadblocks. Okay, you will be able to, you will have roadblocks with respect to your assignments, with respect to writing test cases, with understanding the concept. Okay, and you will be stuck. So my main motive for these classroom sessions will be to basically bring you guys onto the classroom. The idea is that you will have to come with your laptop, and then that day we will solve all the issues for all the participants here in the class. That's what the classroom session is about. The last classroom session will run at least for 5 hours. Other days we will keep it for 2 to 3 hours, but last session I'll keep it for 5 hours. The reason for that is it's going to be an evaluation for all the participants, which means you will be asked to write an end-to-end framework with at least 5 test cases that will run on mobile, on web application, with API automation, and all through Jenkins and Docker, everything, right? So that is going to be a 5-hour evaluation. After the evaluation, you will be getting a certificate. That's what is the plan. Okay. So with the classroom training, Pragati, I'm planning to have the classroom training in Tala, but it is not confirmed. I'm also trying to find a place in city center itself. It's going to be in the weekends, obviously, right? And I will let you know in details, right? Obviously, first three weeks we will have online classes. On the 4th week we will have a classroom session. That's the plan, right? um, Liliana, how many days we will have present class? Okay, so we will have 4. Okay, you say you want to know total number of classes. So 70 hours, 70 to 75 hours. So you can say almost 35 to 38 classes. Total 2.5 to 3 months, Liliana. Is that okay? Because we have to cover all the modules, right? Any other question, Liliana, from your side? Okay. Any other question from anybody? No? Apart from
Sorry.
the training videos? Yeah, go on.
Uh, as a beginner, the content looks, little more, I feel. And how are, like, we can digest it in 2 months? Like, it is very short period.
It is not. It is not. I will confirm you that, because the content that I am giving you is in a compressed format. You will learn everything, but you will learn only the sections, or only the topics which you absolutely need for automation. And obviously it is as I said, you know, the whole idea for me is to get you up and running, to start for an interview, to go in for an interview within 4 months, right? So I'm giving 3 months time, 2.5 to 3 months time, for all of us to be in the same training, and help you with respect to all your doubts. So every content that I'm giving you is in a precise manner. Mobile automation or web application automation or API automation, whatever is required. As I said, 4 days a week, you have 3 days time to practice. I'm not saying that it is not going to be rigorous. It is going to be rigorous, obviously, but I don't want my students to go into an interview and go for a job where you are not able to answer everything that is required to be an automation engineer. Please be very, very clear about the fact that learning Selenium, Java, and a framework will not give you an edge in the market. There are hundreds of guys there in the market with manual testing experience. They're learning Selenium, Java, and framework from some YouTube videos or some private course, and they're coming for the interview. Why am I saying this? Because I take interview, I see these people coming in for the interview, right? And they think that they can get the job, but they don't. And that's the reason why in Dublin, as a SDET, any open position remains open for at least 3.5 to 4 months because they don't find another person. So the idea is, if you're not learning these tools, and if you're just going as a person who has just got very basic understanding of Java, Selenium, and somewhat on the framework implementation, you will not be able to, get that edge to be considered for a resource or a candidate in the market. This is what I have experienced. I'm here in Dublin for last 2 years, and this is what I have experienced in hi Chris, sorry guys, sorry Deepan, Vidya. I think I have another person. Hi Chris, thanks for joining. The class started at 8 o'clock. We have just, can you hear me, Chris? Okay, let me just try to talk to him. I'll just answer you back, Vidya, just give me 2 minutes. So yeah, Vidya, as I was telling you, right? So if you want to actually get a edge in the market, I don't think that it is wise to go for an interview uh, without the knowledge of these tools. I'm not expecting that in 3 months you will become a master of it. I'm not expecting. I'm not even expecting the fact that when you're learning all these tools, like for Appium, obviously that's the only open source automation tool that we have. But like GitHub, right? Maybe the company that you will be going for an interview, they don't use GitHub, they use Bitbucket, right? So as I was telling you, if you have the understanding of how to work with version control system, you will be considered to be a resource. If you know how to work with Jenkins, you will be considered as a resource. It's not that you have to be a master of it. First and foremost, you need to be. You know, you need to be in front of the interviewer. You need to show. You need to show the keywords in your resume. That is the first. That is how you want to get close to the interviewer. Once you get close to the interviewer, that's where you have to prove that you know these tools, right? I mean, without a trial, if you are losing the battle, then I'm not sure, right? So Pragati, as I said, this course is designed for everybody. This course is designed for a fresher, somebody who's coming with very minimal understanding of automation testing. So when you coming to the industry with the knowledge of all these tools, right? So you will definitely get an edge for an interview. The whole idea is to first and foremost get selected. I mean, your CV needs to get selected, and then you need to clear the interview, obviously. But all these tools will give you the edge, is what I'm trying to say here, right? Any other question, guys? So Chris, sorry, I think you joined a little late. We have just we got started like at 8 o'clock, and we have finished few slides. They were mostly, introductory slides, and all the sessions are recorded, so you can take a look at the session later on. I will be posting the video into our YouTube channel, and I'll give you a link, and you will be able to see that, right? I have not started the technical part yet. I'm going to start it now. It depends, Pragati. I cannot tell you how many days it will take for each topic. It depends on the team, on the entire group of participants, right? So the idea is that I want to give everything that I know, and which means if a particular topic takes a little bit longer, I don't really mind, right? As long as everybody understands, or we can continue with the same topic. Any other question, guys? Okay. So what I will do is now I will move on to the next slide. All right. So we are chatting for quite some time now. Let's start from something very basic on testing. So just give me 1 second. I think I'm getting a chat. We will get material apart from, yes, absolutely, Pragati, you will get all the materials. Whatever slide decks that you see here, everything will be uploaded to a Google Drive or a OneDrive, and then you will get the lifetime access to it. And just not the slide, all the projects that we will be creating throughout the course, you will have access to them, along with the assignments, videos, everything, right? Whatever we are going to build here in the class, you will have access to them. Okay. All right. So let's get started. All right. So as I said, that I'm going to start with very basics. I'm going to start with what is software testing. I want to give a very basic understanding of what software testing is, and then we will slowly build on top of it. Okay. So as we all know, software testing means that you need to check that the application is actually working as it is supposed to work, right? That is what you're trying to check as a part of software testing, right? So, but it is not as simple as it sounds. Let me try to explain. On the left hand side that you see here is a client, okay? And you see the circles here. What are these circles? These are basically each and every module that I am showing you here, like the top section, the blue section, it is a different part of the application. On the left hand side, there are some text. It's a different part of the application. On the right hand side bottom, there is a image. It's a different part of the application. So every of these sections, okay, are working independently, or maybe dependent, or maybe they're dependent on each other. So every one of them are independent of each other, or maybe they have some dependency. But the point is that you need to understand as a software tester that these application is working as a whole, you know, as a whole it is working, right? So you need to test all these modules separately, and also you need to perform an integration level testing to check that these modules are working along with each other, okay? On the right hand side, what we have is server, okay? Each and every of these sections that you see in the application are fetching some data from these servers. So there are two types of server which I'm trying to show you here. Is the first one is the web services server. What is web services? Web services is basically a server which is there to get you some information, okay? Which means, so for example, I'm giving a simple example of an application that is Expedia.com. Expedia is basically a travel website, right? So let me actually take you to the website, all right? I will take you to Expedia.com or Expedia.ie, right? Okay, so this is a travel website. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the console for this particular browser. I'm using Chrome, so I'm going to open up the console, right? How do I do it? I say F12. So this is the console of this application. I mean, of this browser. What are the information can I get out of this console? This console gives me many information like the actual HTML that is rendering behind the screen. I can get to see that. But for now, I'm going to talk about something called as network. Okay, I'm going to clear all these network calls. What I will do is now I'm going to just refresh this page. Now, as soon as I refresh the page, you see that there is something that is happening on the right-hand side. What is happening on the right-hand side is hundreds and thousands of network calls are being made to a server. Which server? I'm not sure. Expedia's own private server, or maybe an external server from which Expedia is fetching the information. Okay, let's do some testing on it. Okay, I'm going to clear all the logs here again. So let me actually show you something. You see all these status. Okay, you see the status as 200, which means when the client, that means the browser, is trying to fetch an information from a server, the server is responding back with a 200 status saying that, okay, you are able to get the information and this is the data that you are asking for, and it gives back the information. So actually I can show you something. Let me take up any network call. Let me check what is suitable for us. Give me a second. Okay, let's check this network call. Okay, evaluate experiments and log. I'm not sure what this network call is all about. I'm not sure, okay, because I don't know this application end to end, obviously. But we can get to know some information like by this network call, you can get to know that it is trying to hit this particular server. It is Expedia's own internal server, and it is getting some information out of it. How will you know that? If you go to the response tag, okay, you see this information that is getting fetched from the application, from the server itself. So I will just open this up. I'll just copy this text and I'll go to an application called as JSON formatter. Okay, so the data that came back to me from the server, it came back to me as a JSON, into a JSON format, right? What is JSON? We will know about it in details. Don't bother. Okay. But for now, just see that this particular network call gave me a GUI ID, some TP ID, EAP ID. I'm not even know. I don't even know what are these IDs, right? Because I don't know. I'm not a tester of Expedia.com. So obviously, I don't know about these information. But you can definitely get to know that some server out there is fetching these information for the client, right? So everything in the application and in this application is getting rendered by some network calls being made to some server, and then that's where we can see the information. Let's do some more testing on it. Okay, so for example, I will just clear this again. I'm going to I'm going to write some information. Okay, I'm going to say I'm leaving. I'm moving, going out of Dublin. So I'll say Dublin, Ireland. I'll say that I'm going to Kolkata. Just give me a second. The mouse just. Sorry, hold on. Sorry about that. I just dropped my mouse. No problem. So I'm going to Kolkata. I'm going to give some information here. So departing date, maybe some January, returning date, and 2 adults. Totally fine. I'm going to clear these network calls because I'm not concerned about them right now. I'm going to clear this network calls. I'm going to say search, right? As soon as I clicked on search, let's see what happens. There are thousands of network calls made again. On the left-hand side, you see Expedia.com is trying to resolve. What is it trying to resolve is, it's trying to look into all the servers, relevant servers, and then get back the information for us so that I can know which hotel to choose, right? As you can see, thousands of calls are coming up, right? I'm not even sure the call that I made. Actually, I want to show you the call that I made. I'm not sure out of these so many calls if I can actually find one of them. Let me check. I have to check a few of them to see hotel search. Is this the one? Let's see. Exactly, that's the one, right? How do I know that's the one? So see, the call that I made, hotel search, okay? The call that I made, in the headers section, you will know about this console end to end by the end of this course. Probably many of these sections are not making sense at all. I totally get that. But by the end of this course, you will get to know every one of them, and every of these tabs will be, in your fingertips. Okay, and it's very easy. It's nothing complicated. Okay, let's look at it. This is the URL which I actually pinged, or the application actually tried to reach out to with certain information. What is the information? These are the information which was sent. So in a query string, you see destination ID, and then where is the Dublin? Yeah, here. So Dublin, and then Kolkata, CCU. You see start date, end date, round trip. All this information are actually sent as a parameter to the endpoint. I mean the server, right? And then from the server, I'm getting some response back. The response back is coming to me in this format. Let me check what is that. Yeah, it is basically coming to me as a HTML format, which is ideally rendering the information or rendering the UI, the user interface for us, for the users. That is what software testing is. I mean, you need to know these things in this depth, okay, to create that edge in the market, right? Anyway, so let's just move on. So as I just said, web services. So you saw that we were able to hit some servers. Those were web services. And also there are servers like business logic server. So where you actually perform certain business logical calculation, right? These two servers comes back with the information, and that's where the browser renders the application in front of you, right? So this is what you need to test as a software tester. This is how you should be testing as a software tester, as a functional software tester, right? So there are a few types of software testing that everybody should understand, okay? Unit testing. I'm just going to go through these in a very high level, because as I said, it is not a manual testing course. I will not go in depth of it. Okay, we are only going to consider few of the testing types here, and from automation perspective, that's all we need, right? So unit testing, developers test application code using JUnit test framework. So what happens here is that the application code itself needs to get tested from developers perspective. Basically, um, the business logic that they're writing, okay, or the UI that they have implemented, if that code is actually working properly. I mean, if they have any kind of bad code or not, if they have called a function um, many times, probably, or the function is not returning the right value, these type of information gets tested as a part of unit testing. Okay, application developers code gets tested as a part of unit testing, and as a tester, we don't need to really bother about it, because it is developers job to write a test to break their own code. It is not our responsibility. Okay, our responsibility is to break the whole application, or to test the whole application after it is built, not the actual application code. Okay, system testing. Okay, what is system testing? Every system gets tested individually in this phase. What I mean by that is, here, the blue section that contains some data, or the left hand side there is some text. These sections are individually tested as a part of system testing. Okay, when an application gets created, right, every different team is given responsibility to create these sections, right? So it is highly desirable that these modules or these sections can run on its own. So that's why we need to test them separately. Okay, so that's a part of system testing, when we test them separately. Then comes the integration testing, where multiple systems are tested together in this phase. Okay, as I said earlier, that it's highly possible that the blue section and the gray section is interdependent on each other, and they themselves are also um, fetching some information from web services. It's highly possible. So you need to basically check it from all the angles to check whether the application is, giving you the information that it's supposed to give, right? That's integration testing. Then it comes the regression testing. So what is regression testing? What happens here is, in a normal business as usual, business as usual, what happens is we get different kind of defects, or we implement different features. Now, it is highly um, important for us to test that the feature that we are developing is not breaking some other portion of the application. Okay, so I'm giving an example to you. So for example, you are testing a banking application. Okay, and in the banking application, you have a module where you are transferring fund from one account to another account. Okay, but you have to also know the fact that to transfer fund from one account to the other account, you also need to know that um, you should be able to add beneficiary, right? Because you need to say from which account to which account the money is going. So your beneficiary module is also dependent on your transfer fund. So if you're developing a new feature for transfer fund, you should also test your beneficiary module, right? So that's basically is regression testing all about. Regression testing doesn't mean that you have to test the entire application every time a new feature comes in. It doesn't mean that. It means that you should be able to test all relevant modules for which a feature is getting developed, right? Then it comes user acceptance testing. So in this phase, an end-to-end system, the end-to-end system gets tested by the client, right? So in a services industry, right, what you see here is that you create the application and then you deliver the application to your client. This is services industry, right? IT services industry. So for example, Accenture, okay? They are IT services company. They will get some project from say AIB or KBC, right? And they will implement an application, and then this application will be, you know, tested by the client itself. So AIB or KBC itself will test it, right? So that's basically user acceptance testing. But if you are working for a product-based company itself, so you are working for EIB itself, right? And you have an internal development team. So for your team, the user acceptance testing will be done by your product owner. Okay, the person who basically has the understanding of the business thoroughly, who is close to the business, who understands the business very well, he understands what the application is supposed to do. That person is should be testing the end-to-end test cases, like a user acceptance testing, right? Then we have smoke testing. Okay, in this phase, major functionalities are tested after software build is released. Okay, so you are basically you have created a software and you have released the first build of it. As you release the first build of it, you should certainly test at the very beginning that if this build is actually good enough, so that the major functionality of the application is working. So you have created a function, you have created a travel website. Okay, when you're releasing the first build, you should at least check that it is able to get the information for flights, or you're able to book a flight, or you're able to book a hotel. These are the major functionalities for a particular application, a travel application. So that's where you're going to test and check that whether it is working fine or not, and that is called a smoke testing. Okay, sanity testing is actually a little bit similar, but it is from the tester's perspective to basically see that if the application is good enough to be tested further. So you basically do a sanity check to check that main functionalities are working fine or not, so that you can dig deeper to check more about that feature, right? That's called the sanity test. Okay, why did I give you all this information? Because if somebody is coming from no understanding of software testing, they should actually look into these topics. Okay, um, in any blog or in any YouTube videos, there are hundreds of videos talking about these topics. I want you to go into YouTube, or just Google it and learn about these in a little bit more details. Okay, so that you can understand what's going on behind, right? That's that. Like few types of software testing. That's fine. What type of testing we perform as a part of automation testing? So ideally, we perform regression testing, we perform integration testing, and performance testing. Okay, regression testing, I have already explained that, right? So I have informed you that if your application, if a particular feature in an application is getting added with a new feature, or you are fixing a particular defect, you're supposed to test all relevant modules. That is what regression testing talks about. But you have to understand one thing here, and that is, in any software development life cycle, there are of new feature that keeps on coming, right? And it becomes really, really tedious for a manual tester to manually test relevant modules with different data sets, with on different browsers, okay, or on different devices, okay, n number of times. So you have to understand that you are just not testing the application in one single browser. You have to understand that you're testing the application with the different sets of data. You're testing the application on different browsers, on different devices. Nowadays, all the web applications are mobile friendly. So you need to also check that your application is working fine in a browser, a desktop browser, or in a mobile. So you as a manual tester, you have to test the application thoroughly in all the devices and all the browser with different sets of data, which becomes practically impossible, okay, in today's world. And that's where the automation testing comes in place, right? So regression testing is what we target as a part of automation testing. And then integration testing, as I said, multiple system in an application talks to each other, okay? And it is highly important that that the integration within systems do not break, right? And that's what we test with automation as well, right? We will cover that as a part of REST API automation, okay? And then we have performance testing. So performance testing basically is tested to check whether the application is capable enough to take up the load, right? So you have built an application that is supposed that you're thinking that you will you will get 100,000 users, maybe, right? In a span of, like, I don't know, maybe 1 month, right? And for some reason you did something good, and you see that there are almost 400 or 500 visits to your website, right? If you're not able to, if your application is not able to handle that much of load, then you should work towards it. You should fix that problem. How do you test that? You test that through performance testing. There are different performance testing tools like load runner, like JMeter, right? Using that, you perform testing like load and stress testing, right? But we will not cover that. That's not part of our course. Our course is uh, focusing towards functional automation and um, web services automation. Okay, so regression testing and integration testing is what we are focusing here. Okay, now we will quickly take a look at a demo on test automation. There are many people here in the room probably have never seen how an automation test case looks like and how it runs. Okay, so I'm going to probably give you a quick demo on that. This is one of the script that I have written for one of my earlier classes, and let me quickly run that for you. Okay, so this is again Expedia site search. The whole idea is that this is a very basic test case, and I have not even created a framework here. It's a very simple test case. Okay, I'm going to just run this to show you how exactly automation testing looks like and what exactly happens when you run automation test case, so that you can get a glimpse of it, right? So I'm going to just trigger the run. You will probably not know any of it. This tool that I'm using right now is basically Eclipse. It's an IDE, or integrated development environment, where we write uh, you know a project, a Java project. Okay, so I'm going to just trigger to run. So here I'm just entering some data into expedia.com, and I'm basically running it in multiple browsers. So you will see that I'm running it in a parallel run. So you see there are two browsers that opens up. One is Chrome, another one is a Firefox, right? And all am I trying to do is I'm trying to uh, run a simple test here. Okay. think there are 2 test cases which are running, so which is why it just opens up another another browser. So things runs much faster when you actually run it through Jenkins and into Docker, because right now this is a local run in my system, and in my system, along with Eclipse and Selenium, there are many other tools that are present, right? Which is why the test case performance is not that commendable, right? But ideally, when we run the tests in Jenkins through Docker, um, it is much faster. We will see that. We will see that in our course, that how we can run the test case in a lightning speed. Okay, and also this particular, I mean, in my laptop there is too much of applications, and that's the reason why there is a little bit of delay. Okay, I'm getting some questions. Let me just take up the question. So you see my test case executed. There are 4 test cases that got executed, and everything is passed. All fine. I mean, this doesn't even have a reporting here. I will generate a report later on when we come to the right module, but for now, it's not there. It's just a simple test case to show you how parallel test case runs mostly. Yeah. I got a question. Let me just take up that question. Hold on. Where is the question here? Okay. Thank you, Rajesh. Okay, so now that we have seen a little bit of what this automation is, let us try to move on to the next topic, that why do we care to learn automation testing? Okay, first and foremost, there's a huge demand globally, okay, for test automation engineers. I mean, not a person who has got an understanding to write driver.find element, which is a first statement for Selenium. Okay, if you go for an interview with driver.find elements, then I mean, there are hundreds of candidates out there who thinks that they are automation engineers just by writing a couple of scripts. That's not how it is. If you are an automation engineer, and if you are going as an SDET, as I have explained earlier as well, you should have end-to-end knowledge on it, on all the modules that I'm showing you. So a huge demand, right? So let me just show you something, right? I'll go to Iris Jobs. Just give me a minute. Let me just say Iris Jobs. I'm not sure if you have ever looked into it, but or maybe Indeed.ie. Just try to look for automation test engineer. Let's say Dublin, right? Do we have Leinster, yeah? And search, and then here as well, say automation engineer. Automation engineer, Dublin. So let's try to understand so test automation engineer, automation QA engineer. I mean, you just test automation engineer. There are hundreds and hundreds of requirement on this particular skill set that we are offering. SDET is the one that we are offering, right? let's go to Iris jobs. Senior automation engineer, right? Automation engineer in South Leinster, right? There are not one or two, there are hundreds, and it's not stopping. I mean, there are every day, every week, every month, there is a huge requirement in Dublin, or I think globally everywhere, for this particular skill set. It's more in Dublin because the reason for that is very simple. You see, develop your QA tester, develop your automation and API skills. You need API skills, guys. If you don't have that, just with Selenium writing driver.findElement will not get you a job. If you want to get a job, you need to learn everything. Okay? Spend some time, see what the market is asking for. Right? So the point is that there is huge requirement for this particular skill set. It is more here because I have seen in last 2 years that it is easier to find a developer, but not a QA engineer who understands programming. I think the reason for that is in Ireland or in even European countries, people who learn programming, they try to go for development itself. They don't stay with testing, and that is the reason why there is such a demand in the market, right? Okay, so that's that. Let's look at the second point here. Learning curve. Obviously, as Vidya mentioned, that 4 months or 3 months is a little bit, too much or a little bit too short for learning all the modules. But still, you have to understand that the learning curve for test automation is much lower than application development. You're not expected to create an application. Okay, you're expected to write a framework, create a framework, or you need to. So the idea is that if you're going to work as a test automation engineer, it is obviously desired that you will be able to implement a test automation framework with the experience, but with the experience that you will be going to look for a job. With your experience, it's not required, or it's not mandate for you to implement a test automation framework. You should have enough understanding that how an automation test framework is built. Okay. All right. So let me check some chats. Good. Okay. So I was talking about the learning curve. The learning curve here is much lower than application development because yes, you need to understand a lot about all these tools. I mean, you have to learn many more tools, but it is not as complicated as application development. And the experience that you will be going for as an interview, as an candidate, you're not expected to write framework, but yes, obviously you should be knowing all these tools. You should know how to work with these tools, right? And I will help you to get you up to the speed. But as I said, it's just not my own effort will get you the desired result, right? It should come from your end. It should be a two-way effort, so that we can work towards the right goal, right? As I said, less number of QA available who understands programming. That is also the reason why you should learn the automation, because this is the right time, right? Okay, you can see this right graph here, return on investment. Companies understand this very well now. right? They understand that with respect to return on investment from automation testing is much higher than manual testing. Okay, at the initial phase, it is a little bit higher. I mean, it is a little bit basically lower because you are spending more money towards creating automation test cases. But later on, you see that the um, expenses actually comes down for automation testing because once your test suite or test framework is stable, you basically start just building on top of it. You just start maintaining it. You don't spend that much amount of money to write or recreate the same test case. Like in manual test case, manual effort, you have to keep on executing the same regression test case over and over again for different devices, for different browsers. That is not what is going to be there with automated testing. Automation itself will take care of execution. Okay, initially it takes a little bit higher with respect to expense because automation testers are much highly paid than manual testers, and that's why the expenses are higher. But later on it gets stabilized because then maintenance comes in, right? So nowadays you will see that in a team of, like, say, 4 developers, there is one QA engineer who works as a manual as well as automation engineer. Okay, so that is the team structure that you will generally see in companies nowadays. Okay, so to learn in and out of automation testing, we will have to start with programming. Everything that I've shown you in the module, the course that I'm offering, everything is related to programming, and my whole motive is to make it simpler for you. The reason I see that many people who comes to automation testing don't go beyond certain steps because they fear programming. They somehow fear to dig deeper into programming, right? And I strongly believe that it is not a rocket science. If you are a little bit consistent, if you are guided properly, it is not a rocket science at all, right? So I'm going to start with Java, and today we will just try to understand what is Java, what is JDK, what is JRE. We're going to install Java in our system, and that's pretty much about it. And then probably we'll write a basic program with Java. Let me see what is the time. Okay. All right. So we have 20 minutes. So we'll try to see how much we can cover, or otherwise we will cover it next tomorrow. That's fine. So what is Java? So Java is a concurrent class-based object-oriented programming language. Okay. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that Java is a programming language that follows object-oriented principles. What is object-oriented principles? We will discuss in details later on, but for now, it is just a definition that you should be remembering. Okay, so the idea is very simple. The idea is that you write a code or a particular program in one single environment, and then you keep on running it in different environments, right? That is what Java helps you with. Okay, so you write a program, suppose in Windows, and you want to run that program in a Mac. Java can help you do that, right? So that is what is Java is about in a very layman terminology. We will take much deeper dive into it in later course. So there are three main components of Java that we are concerned about. Okay, one is called Java Virtual Machine. Another one is called Runtime Environment, Java Runtime Environment, and Java Development Kit, right? So we should understand what are these stuff. Okay, so let's go into Java Virtual Machine, right? What is Java Virtual Machine? Just give me a quick second. Okay, so JVM is a specification or a concept. Okay, basically Java Virtual Machine is a concept and an abstraction over operating system, okay, to execute compiled Java code. So what I mean by that, we have operating system, Windows, Mac, Linux. These are different operating systems, totally fine. So what JVM does is it creates an abstraction on top of the operating system. That's why I'm showing you here in the picture that we have underlying operating system, and on top of that we have the abstraction of Java Virtual Machine. The whole idea is that the Java program, doesn't need to run directly on the operating system. Because we have Java Virtual Machine on top of operating system, the program will actually run within Java Virtual Machine, and then Java Virtual Machine will interact with the operating system in order to produce the result. That's it. Okay, so let's look at this bottom diagram here. So we have a source file, which means we have a simple Java program. We compile it. What do I mean by compilation? It means you are converting English, a simple source file that is written in English to a bytecode or a machine understandable format. Okay, this process is called compilation. You compile a source file to a machine understandable format, which is basically a bytecode, and that is something which gets executed within JVM, Java Virtual Machine. Okay, we can see here that a raw source file gets compiled into a bytecode, which gets executed through the platform independent Java Virtual Machine. When I say platform independent, I mean that the program which is created in Windows operating system can be easily executed in a Mac or a Linux operating system without a hassle, right? That is the benefit of Java. There are almost 3 billion devices, okay, in which Java is running today. Okay, if you install Java, you will see that information in the installer itself. So let's check a little bit more on that. So the next topic is Java runtime environment. What is runtime environment? So Java runtime environment is basically, as I said in the last slide, Java Virtual Machine is the concept. Okay, concept meaning the way it's an idea that the source file will not run directly on the operating system, but it will run on an abstraction, and that abstraction is Java Virtual Machine. That is the concept, right? Let's go to the next slide. What is JRE? JRE is basically the actual implementation of JVM. You actually implement in JRE, there is a portion which is actually the implementation of Java Virtual Machine, which means it actually you have, the Java compiler or the Java software itself is having the implementation of JVM, which is a part of JRE. So JRE contains JVM and a set of libraries plus other files required by Java at runtime for executing the programming. Libraries like, you know, different kind of libraries like compilers, like Java C is a compiler, right? So these kind of libraries are a part of GRE. I'm going to show you those information clearly once I install it, right? So in order to execute Java program, a platform relevant GRE is enough. Okay, what I mean by that, I'm just coming to that point. So let's move on to the next slide. JDK, Java Development Kit. So we understand one thing. First is Java Virtual Machine. It is an abstraction or it's a concept, but basically it's an abstraction on top of the operating system. That's one thing. Second thing is GRE. GRE is the actual implementation of JVM plus certain library functions that helps you to execute the program. That's GRE. Totally fine. On top of GRE, we add another set of information that is called dev tools. Okay, in the dev tools we have certain tools which are like Java C, Java, etc., which gets combined along with GRE to become JDK. Why do I need JDK? Because I have already seen earlier that GRE is capable enough to run a Java program. Then why do I need JDK? I need JDK because I want to develop a Java program. Development, when I'm doing a development, I am using JDK totally as a developer, as a test automation developer. Whatever code in Java I'm going to develop, I will be doing that through JDK, using JDK. Totally fine. But when I want to run this, when I want to run the program, I don't need to have JDK in my system. So let's look at this particular, the next slide. Look at this situation here. You are a developer here on the left-hand side. You're writing a piece of code. You're using JDK for that, and you are using Windows operating system, no problem. You have built a particular file, a program, and you're given that to your friend there, who is not a developer, who is a client, and he's using Mac, right? What he needs is just JRE to execute the program. He doesn't need JDK. So how do you then execute JDK? I mean, how do you execute Java program in your system? Because JDK contains JRE. We have seen that here already. JDK already contains JRE, and JRE has a virtual machine, right? So in turn, you are already covered as a developer. You're already covered to develop and to run a Java program, right? You're already covered with that, and your friend is also covered because he is having a GRE, platform-specific GRE to run the program. Okay. So what we will do is we will try to whatever we just spoke about it, we will try to create this in action. Okay. I'm going to go back to my folder here. So this is a folder that I have for Wizdom QA. Totally fine. I'm going to just 1 minute. So I'm going to actually create some simple text file. So first and foremost, I want to show you that I have Java installed in my system. I'll go to my terminal or command prompt, and I'm going to say what? Java space version, right? If I hit this, I will get some information saying that I have Java 1.8 installed in my system. Totally fine. That's okay. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a simple text file. Okay. The text file that I am going to create, in this text file, I'm going to write some code here. Okay. So I'm going to say public. This is a simple text file. It's not a Java file. Simple text file. Public class. What is class? What is public? We will talk about this in details. Don't bother now. Public class. Hello. Right. And that's the class that we have created. Totally fine. And inside this class, I'm going to create a method. Okay, what is method? We will talk about that later on. Don't bother for now. Public static void main. And here I'm gonna say string args and my bad. Okay. And here I'm going to just say that I want to print out some information. So there is another, this is a code, a simple code I'm writing, okay? System dot out dot println, and in this I say a simple text saying welcome to Wizdom QA, right? That's a simple text file with some script. This is basically a Java code that I've written here. It is not making any sense to you, probably, which I understand. I will help you explaining everything in next class. But for now, we just see a simple text file. That's fine. The idea is that I'm going to save this file as a .java file with a .java extension. Okay. What I will do is I will say new, save as, and I will name it. I will name this file as the same name of the class. That's the rule. Okay, that's a rule for Java. So I'm going to say hello. Perfect. .java. And then I'm going to say all files, right? And then I say save. Okay. As I did that, I've created a Java file. It is actually showing me in a different icon because it is basically IntelliJ. IntelliJ is trying to say that there is a class file. Okay, that's why it's showing its icon there. That's fine. But if I actually go to this particular location inside the command prompt, so you know how to go there. CD, Control V, which will take you to right this particular folder. So I'm in this particular folder. I just write a simple command called dir. Dir is the command to list all the files in that particular directory, right? So you see it has listed all the directories, and you see that I have a .java file, hello.java file, totally fine. So now this file, I want to execute. I want to run this particular file. How do I do that? Okay, I want to run what is there in the script. There is a script which has to print some text, right? How do I do that? So let's look at the program here. So it says create a basic source file, which I did right now, step 1. Compile to convert into bytecode. Okay, we will compile this to convert into bytecode. How do we do that? We use a command called javac, right? Javac is a part of JDK DevTools. Okay, so let's try to trigger Java C. I'm going to say Java C. Java C means Java compiler. And then I'm going to say hello.java. Hit enter. And it is taking some time and it's giving me an error. It gave me an error. Totally fine, because it is expecting the semicolon in the last by the end of the line. No problem at all. So I can quickly go back to my program, which is here, and I will I'll open this with Notepad, and I will just say this guy. That's it. Save it and re-execute the same command. And now I don't see any other error, but just there, a new file got generated called hello. If I actually hit dir now, I am seeing that a new file got created called .class. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, it's a .class file. Totally fine. Now let's try to open this .class file and see what happens. Right? Just give me 1 second. My icon is too big. I don't want this one. I want a small icon. Yeah. So what I will do here is now I'm going to open up the hello. That's what happens when a simple English written code in Java gets converted to a machine language, right? So we just converted that to a machine language, and we see that this is the compiled version. Now, once I have the compiled version, only then I'm allowed to actually execute that piece of information. So how do I do that? I just say Java, sorry, not Java, it's Java, and I'm going to say hello. I'm not going to say hello.java. I'm going to say just hello, because by saying hello, it is going to point to the hello.class file. Hit enter, and that's where it prints, welcome to Wizdom QA, right? Let us make it a little bit more interesting. I'm going to open the notepad again. We have seen something called as this portion here, right? It's called arguments. What I mean by that, it means this is basically a function. This guy here is basically a method, a main method. We'll talk about main method in details, but this is a method, and whatever is within the main method gets executed. Totally fine. This main method is having an argument. Okay, it's a parameter argument. So this argument that I have here is there is a possibility that I can pass on some information into this main method through the argument from an external source, right? So what I'm going to say here is, I'm going to say that plus, I'm going to give some name. Okay, I'm going to pass on some names. So for example, I can say args 0. This is basically an array. You will not understand what is an array right now, but for now, just consider that I'm trying to use this information here in this line so that I can print some additional information, right? And I'm also going to say args 1, right? I'm going to save this. I'm going to close this. I'm going to recompile it because I've just added some more script to it. So I have to recompile it. So let's recompile it. Java C. I recompile it. I'm going to run it now. Java hello. However, now if you actually see here in the code, I have these two information to be added to this line. So I have to actually pass on some information. How can I pass on some information? I can simply say the information right next to the name of the file. Say Sovic, not Sovic, sorry. I'll get the name. Vidya. And I don't know, Deepa, right? And hit enter. Do you see something happened? What we see here is welcome Wizdom to Wizdom QA, Vidya, and then Deepa. There is no gap here because I have not added the gap. But ideally what happened is these two information were passed on to the line, to the program itself, correct? So that's how I'm passing some additional information to the method through an argument, okay? We can write many more things with it, but I'm not doing it right now. So that's that, right? So you understand that we have Java C, which helped me to configure, to compile the code to a class file, and then we were able to execute it, okay? So now that we have these two, I'm going to take you to the next portion of it. We have few more to complete, okay? So let's see, Java installation and configuration. Before I actually go into it, I would like to ask whether you want to call it a day, or do you want to learn about these 3 slides now, or do you want me to get it done tomorrow? Because we are talking for last 2 hours. I'm not sure if it's okay that, I mean, if you're fine with that. Do you want to continue tomorrow, or do you want to? Tomorrow is fine. Okay. Can I quickly get a answer from everybody there? Okay. 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 So Raj is saying that if I want, I can continue, but I'm not sure. I mean, most of the team here is saying tomorrow is fine. What do you say, guys? You want me to continue? I can do that. But do you want me to continue, or it's enough, like 2 hours? Okay. Okay. I think everybody is saying it's to call it a day. That's fine for me. I totally get it, Raj, that it's interesting, and it's indeed interesting. So that's fine. We will get back tomorrow, and we'll continue from here. Please try to be there on time, 8 o'clock, and then we'll start it from there itself. I'm going to just quickly run a poll before you guys go. Okay. Please, this is a feedback poll mostly. I just want to know how things went. Just give me 2 seconds. So I have just launched the polling. You must be seeing that in your screen now. Can you just start filling that information? Okay, I've got 5 responses, 2 more to go. I think one more person is to answer. I got it from six people, not the seventh. Just give me a second. Getting a chat. Okay, Pragati, you're not finding it. It should be there in the front of your screen. Everybody actually got it. Are you joined from laptop or from your phone? Okay. In that case, Pragati, you should be able to see it. Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. We can try it tomorrow again. So I'm going to keep up this polling after every class. It's to understand what you think about the class, and if there is any thing you want me to improve on, let me know so that I can work on it. Right? I just end the polling. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Thank you. Thanks for the answer, and let us come back tomorrow. I'm going to upload this video. Actually, I have to merge two videos together because in between the class got dropped and recording stopped, I think. So I will have to merge these two, and then I will going to push this to the YouTube channel. I'll send details about it. Right. Thank you for joining. Let's get back tomorrow, and we will continue from here itself. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Pragati. Have a good night, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.